Hello everyone, I am Dr. Vikram Singh, Associate Professor, Department of Social Work, Regional Campus Manipur, Indira Gandhi National Tribal University, Amarkantak, Madhya Pradesh. Today we will be discussing about Gandhi's Charter of Social Reconstruction. So let's begin the topic. So the core objective of this lecture will be as follows. After understanding this lecture, we can discuss about Gandhi's 19th point constructive program, which is regarding LIS, a character of reconstruction for the Indian society or an institution to move towards the Gandhian model of an ideal society. After this lecture, you will be able to know about Gandhi's notions about various social issues and problems such as leprosy, alcoholism, untouchability, etc. Moreover, you will be able to understand and know about Gandhi's strategy to eradicate or mitigate these problems. Last but not the least, the Gandhian Code of Conduct for the agencies engaged in the execution of constructive work. So, in introduction, we will discuss that. After discussing the ideal society as envisaged by Gandhi and the fundamental values on which the ideal society is to be based, it would be appropriate to go through the 19-point constructive program presented by Gandhi to be implemented for the realization of the ideal society. In his book, Gandhi, written about the Purn Swaraj or complete independence by the truthful and non-violent means. It is designed to build up the nation from the variety and very bottom upwards. After the complete independence through truth and non-violence means the independence of every unit, be it the humblest of the nation, without distinction of race, color or creed. This independence is never exclusive. It is therefore wholly compatible. It is therefore wholly compatible with the interdependence within or without. Gandhi was aware of the criticism of this program, as he wrote, "When the critics laugh at the proposition, what they mean is there are crores of people who will never cooperate in the effort to fulfill the program. No doubt, there is considerable truth in the scoff, given an indomitable will on the part of the band of honest workers. The program is as workable as any other and more so than the most." Gandhian constructive programs. Now, one by one, we will discuss Gandhi's 19-point constructive program. So, the first constructive program includes communal unit. The necessity of communal unit is essential, but we have to know that unity does not mean political unity, which may be imposed. Hence, the first thing essential for achieving unity is for every Indian, whatever his religion may be, to be represented in his own person, that is Hinduism, Islam, Christianity, Zoroastrian, Jews, etc. Shortly, every Hindu and non-Hindu has to feel their identity with every one of the millions of inhabitants of Hindustan or India. To realize this, every Indian will cultivate personal friendship with persons representing faith other than his own. They should have the same regard for the other faiths as he has for his own. The second point of the constructive program is removal of untouchability. As we know that Indian society is stratified into four varnas. These four varnas are as follows: Brahman, Kshatriya, Vaishya and the Shudras. And the people who do not exist in the hegemony are known as the untouchables. So, it is the unnecessary to dilute upon the necessity of the removal of this bloat and curse upon Hinduism. Because in Hinduism there is a concept of purity and pollution. So, that is why people who come at the last of the hegemonical structure, they are known as untouchable. So, it is something indispensable so far as Hindus are concerned for the very existence of Hinduism, and so far as the Harijans are concerned, every Hindu should make common cause with them and befriend them in their awful isolation. Such isolation perhaps the world has never seen in the monstrous immensity one witnessed in India, because there is a discrimination and the marginalization among the Dalits, who also known as untouchable in India. So, Gandhi also emphasized on the removal of untouchability and inclusion of the all citizens in the community and the society as well. The third constructive program is prohibition. Gandhi has once said that if here the third constructive program is prohibition. Gandhi had once said that if he were made the dictator of India for only 1 hour, he would shut down all liquor shops without giving any compensation, because the liquor shops enhance the alcoholism in the society. He further said that if we are to reach our goal through non-violent effort, we may not leave to the government the fate of lakhs of men and women who are laboring under the curse of intoxicants and narcotics. So, there should be a ban on liquor shops to reduce the alcoholism from the society. Women and students have a special opportunity to advance this reform, because women are the most sufferer of domestic violence due to alcoholism. By act of loving service, they can acquire on addicts a hold which will compel them to listen to the appeal to give up the evil habit. Lasting and healthy deliverance comes from within, that is, from the self purification. Therefore, there should be a ban or prohibition on the social evils of the society. The fourth constructive program given by Gandhi is Khadi. Khadi. It connotes the beginning of economic freedom and equality of all in the country. It means a wholesale Swadeshi mentality, a determination to find out all the necessities of life in India, and that too through the labor and intellect of the villager. So, it can promote the business among the villagers' community. That means a reversal of the existing process. Khadi to Gandhi is the symbol of unity, of Indian humanity, of its economic freedom and equality. Because when we will use the khadi in the society, it will give the economic freedom to the artisans who made khadi, and it will give all people equality to weave their clothes from their own. Moreover, the khadi mentality means decentralization of the production and distribution of the necessity of life. Therefore, the formula so far evolved is every villager or every village is to produce all its necessity and a certain percentage in addition to the requirement of the cities. The fifth constructive program given by Gandhi was village industries. These stand on a different footing from khadi because there is not much scope for voluntary labor in them. Each industry will make the labor of only a certain number of hands. These industries come in as a handmaid to khadi. They cannot exist without khadi, and khadi will be robbed of its dignity without them. Henceforth, they are connected vice versa. A village economy cannot be complete without the essential village industry such as hand grinding, hand pounding, soap making, paper making, matchmaking, tanning, oil pressing, etc. Given the demand, there is no doubt that most of our wants can be supplied from our villages only. When we have become village minded, we will not limit of the West, or we will not imitate the West or machine made products, but we will develop a true nation taste in keeping with the vision of New India, in which pauperism, starvation and idleness will be unknown. Means there will be a non-existence of beggary, poverty, etc. The next constructive program given by Gandhi was village sanitation. Gandhi defined that divorce between intelligence and labor has resulted in criminal negligence of the villages. The approach to many villages is not a refreshing experience. Often one would like to shut one's eye and stuff one's nose. Such is the surrounding dirt and offending smell. A sense of national and social sanitation is not a virtue among us. We may take a kind of bath, but we do not mind dirtying the well or the tank or the river by which is responsible for the disgraceful state of us villages and the sacred banks of the sacred rivers, and for the diseases that spring from insanitation. So, there is a utmost need of the village sanitation. There should be awareness and sensitization among the villagers, so they can't neglect about the issue of hygiene and sanitation. The next constructive program given by Gandhi is basic education. This education means to transform village children into model villagers. It is principally designed for them. The inspiration for it has come from the villages as those who want to build up the structure of Swaraj from its very foundation there, not neglect the children. Foreign rule has unconsciously through nonetheless surely begun with children in the field of education. Though primary education is a fast designed without regards to the wants of India, the villages, and for the matter even of the cities. Basic educations link the children, whether of the cities or the villagers, to all that is best and lasting in India. It develop both the body and the mind and keep child rooted to the soil with a glorious vision of the future, in the realization of which he or she begins to take his or her share from the very commencement of his or her school career. The next constructive program given by Gandhi is adult education. Adult education means for Gandhi first true political education of the adult by word of mouth. Seeing that this will be mapped out, it can be given without fear. I imagine that it is too late in the day for authority to interfere with this type of education. But if there is interference, there must be a fight for this elementary right, without which there cannot be a Swaraj. Therefore, non-violence abhors fear, and therefore secrecy side by side with education by the mouth will be the literacy education. The next constructive program of Gandhi was the issue of women. Women constitute the 50% population of the society. Women do have a secondary status in the society. They have been suppressed under custom and law, for which man was responsible and in the shaping of which she had no hand. In a plan of life based on non-violence, a woman has as much as right to shape her own destiny as a man has to shape his. But in Indian society or in the society as large, women do have a secondary status due to the patriarchy. But as every right in a non-violent society proceeds from the previous performance of a duty, it follows that rules of social conduct must be framed by mutual cooperation and consultation. Women are somewhat like slaves of old who did not know that they could or even had to be free. And when freedom came for the moment, they felt helpless. Women have been taught to regard themselves as the slaves of man. They had to be a secondary from the man in the society. It is up to man to see that they enable them to realize their full status and play their part as equal of man in the society, so they can also contribute towards the family system in enhancing social capital. The next constructive program given by Gandhi was education in health and hygiene. The art of keeping one's health and the knowledge of the hygiene is by itself a separate subject of study, which is very important, and it is corresponding practice as well. In a well ordered society, the citizens know and observe the law of health and hygiene, because it is established beyond doubt that ignorance and neglects of the law of health and hygiene are utmost responsible for the majority of disease to which mankind is here. The very high death rate among us in the society is no doubt due to largely because of the poverty, but it could be mitigated if the people were properly educated about the health and hygiene. The next constructive program given by Gandhi was provincial languages. According to Gandhi, our love of the English language in preference to our mother tongue has caused a deep chasm between the educated and politically minded class and the masses. The language of India have suffered improvisement. The result has been disastrous. The masses remain cut off from the modern mind. The masses can make no solid contribution to the construction of Swaraj. Though it is inherent in the Swaraj based on non-violence that every individual make their own direct contribution towards the independence movement. However, the masses cannot do this fully unless they understand every step with all its implications. Therefore, it is impossible unless every step is explained in their own languages. So, there should be a provision of provincial languages in the society and among the peoples. The next constructive program given by Gandhi was national language. This language is indisputably is Hindi. It is spoken and understood by both Hindus and Muslims of the north. It is called Urdu when it is written in Urdu script. In 1925, the common man language was called an all India speech, that is Hindustani. And since that time, in theory at least, Hindustani has been the Rashtra Bhasha. In 1920, a deliberate attempt was begun to recognize the importance of the Indian languages for the political education of the masses, as also of an all India common speech which politically minded India could easily speak and which people from the different provinces could understand at all India gatherings. Such national languages should enable one to understand and speak both forms of speech and write it in both scripts. The next constructive program given by Gandhi was economic equality. This is the master key. This is the master key. This is the master key to non-violent independence. That is, working for economic equality means abolishing the eternal conflict between capital and labor. It means the leveling down of the few rich in whose hand is concentrating the bulk of nation's wealth on the one hand, and the leveling up the semi-starved naked millions on the other hand. A non-violent system or government is clearly an impossibility so long as the wide gulf between the rich and the hungry millions persist. There will be a inequality in the society, and it is pertaining in the society because of the unequal distribution of the resources in the society, and there is a gap in the ruling class and the working class. Therefore, a violent and bloody revolution is a certainty one day unless there is a voluntary abdication of riches and the power that riches give and sharing them for the common good. The next constructive program is peasants or Kisan. Swaraj is a mighty structure. Crores of hands have to work at building it. Of these kisans, that is peasantry, is the largest part. When they become conscious of their non-violent strength, no power on the earth can resist them. They must not be used for power politics. Gandhi considered it to be contrary to the non-violent method. Those who would know my method of organizing Kishans may profitably study the movement in Champaran, when Satyagraha was tried for the first time in India. With the result, all India knows. It has become a mass movement which remained wholly non-violent from start to finish. The next constructive program is labor. Ahmedabad Labour Union is a model for all India to copy. It's based on non-violence, purity and simple framework. It has never had a setback in its career. It has gone on from strength to strength without fuss and without show. It has its hospital, its school for the children of the mill hands, its classes for adults, its own printing press and khadi depot, and its own residential quarters. Almost all the hands are voters and decide the fate of elections. They were also put on the voter list. The organization have never taken part in party politics. It influenced the municipal policy of the city. It has to its credit wholly non-violent and very successful strikes. Mill owners and labor have governed their relationships largely through voluntary arbitration. If I had my way, I would regulate all the labor organization of India after the Ahmedabad model. The next constructive program was tribes or Adivasi given by Gandhi. Service of tribe is also a part of the constructive program, because the tribes, scheduled tribes or the indigenous people are also a integrative part of the society. Though they are the 16 number in this program, they are not the least in point of importance, because our country is so vast and the races so varied that the best of us cannot know all there is to know of man and their condition. As one discovers this for oneself, one realizes how difficult it is to make well or claim to be one nation well unless every unit has a living consciousness of being one with other. The next constructive program is lepers. Leper is a word of bad odor. India is perhaps a home of lepers, next only to Central Africa. Yet they are much a part of society as the tallest among us, but the tall absorb our attention, though they are least in need of it. The lots of the lepers who are much in need of attention is studied neglectly. Gandhi attempted to call it heartless, which in certainly in terms of non-violence. It is largely the missionary who be said to his credit bestow care of him. The last but not the least, Gandhi has given the constructive program on students, such as the students are It is from these young men and women that the future leader of the nation are to rise. Unfortunately, they are acted upon by every variety of influences. Furthermore, Gandhi have given code of conduct for the students which are as follows. The first conduct is students must not take part in party politics. They are students, searchers, not politicians. The second code of conduct is they may not resort to political strikes. They must have their heroes, but their devotion to them is to be shown by copying the best in their heroes, not by going on the strikes. The third one was they must all do sacrificial spinning in a scientific manner. Their tool shall be always neat, clean, and in good order and condition. If possible, they will learn to make them themselves. The fourth conduct was they will be khadi users all through and use village products to the exclusion of all analog things, foreign or machine made. The fifth conduct was they can enforce the message of the tricolor flag in their own persons and harbor neither communalism nor untouchability in their hearts. They will cultivate real friendship with the students of the other faith, with the Harijan as if they were. They will cultivate real friendship with the students of other faiths and with Harijans as if they were their own kith and kin. The sixth conduct was they will make it at point to give first aid to their injured neighbors and do scavenging and cleaning in the neighboring village and instruct village children and adults. The next conduct was they will learn the national language Hindustani in its present doubtless double dress, two forms of speech and two scripts, that they may feel at home whether Hindi or Urdu is spoken and Nagari or Urdu script is written. The next and the eighth conduct was they will translate into their own mother tongue everything new they may learn and transmit it in their weekly rounds to the surrounding villages. The ninth conduct given by Gandhi was that a student will do nothing in secret. They will be above board in all their dealings. They will lead a pure life of self-restraint, shed all fears and be always ready to protect their weak fellow students and be ready to quell riots by non-violent conduct at the risk of their lives. They also be scrupulously correct and chierously in their behavior towards their female students. Then Gandhi also talked about the service towards the cow in their construct. For Gandhi, the cow is a poem of pity. It is the purest type of subhuman life. Man, through cow, is enjoined to realize his identity with all that lives. Cow protection is one of the most wonderful phenomena in human evolution. It is a gift of Hinduism to the world. Apart from religious sentiments, the role of cow in human development is unparalleled. Agriculture is the backbone of the Indian economy, and the cow happens to be the backbone of agriculture. All the cow products, namely milk, cow dung, urine, bullocks, even its bone, horns and skin have multifarious use for nutrition, health, hygiene, fuel, along with making of footwear, manure and petty articles like buttons, etc. It is a moving plant in itself, which is sustainable through local resources. Cow slaughter is a sin which should be totally banned, and every measure should be undertaken to protect and develop the cow species. Now, afterwards, Gandhi also have given the code of conducting for the agencies who will be implementing the given 19 constructive programs. So, likewise, the agency of professional social work, there is a large number of agencies and their federations functions to implement the Gandhian constructive program. Of course, many followers Gandhi are engaged in social work in their individual capacity. Of course, many followers of Gandhi are engaged in social work in their individual capacity, but their number is relatively small. The network of these agencies, which were founded both during the Gandhian and post-Gandhian era, is countrywide. Some of them having celebrated platinum jubilees long back, like Satyagraha, Code of Conduct, Oblique Ethics. Gandhi also formulated a code of conduct for the agencies engaged in the education. Gandhi also formulated a code of conduct for the agencies engaged in the execution of the 19-point constructive program. The code has a universal value and is still relevant for all the voluntary agencies or NGOs in the country. It is reproduced below. The first point is success of the organization. The success of any organization or institution depends on the following condition: extreme authentic dedication and enthusiasm towards the realization of the objectives of the institution. Not merely observance of the rules and regulation of institution, but also their spirit, a feeling of brotherhood and unity among the management, members and subordinate staff. Despite having other favorable condition, the institution or organization would be lifeless even if a single condition is not followed out of above the mentioned three conditions. The director of an institution can be termed the pivot of an institution. The success of the institution depends on the director's dedication and devotion towards objectives of the institution, his observance of rules and regulation, his behavioral towards other members and his industriousness. Moreover, if the director is conceited of his power or indifferent or disinterested toward other members, it would be harmful for the institution. Furthermore, the director of the institution should behave in the same way as an efficient commander-in-chief, who is alert and strict about making others follow the rules, and at the same time he cares to draw love and respect from his soldiers and feel proud of them. Additionally, the director should look into the smallest detail of the institution. He should take care of the members and other fellow beings of the institute in the same manner as mother take care of her child. Moreover, the director should exercise his rights according to the situation. He or she should consider the junior most employee as his or her friend. He or she should believe that he or she got this post as a director not because of his or her special capabilities, but the respect shown to him or her by his or her co-workers. Director should listen to the suggestions of the junior most employee with respect and should be ready to implement them if he agrees with them. If he does not think them proper, he should try to make them see their viewpoints. The director should not be too credulous. He should not form an adverse opinion about others in haste. He should take time to understand the person before forming any adverse opinion. In fact, he should never form a pejorative opinion or preconceived notions about others in the absence of clear evidence. He should not shower special favor on particular persons. He should not be partial to people. Also, he should not praise one member to bring down the other. It is also not necessary to use stern behavior or harsh language to make others follow the rule systematically. The director who thinks the utility of these harsh measures to maintain discipline displays inabilities. Then Gandhi talked about the members of the institution to execute the 19 constructive program. The institution cannot continue for a long time if there is an absence of the feeling of brotherhood and unity among the members. The difference and disputes are bound to occur, and the member would indulge in fighting with each other, forgetting the real objective of the institute. Furthermore, the institution cannot work for a long whose members are not eager to follow their officers. Laziness and carelessness attitude would spread in the institute, and the members would become victims of these vices. Additionally, there should not only be outward cooperation among the director and the members, but also mental cooperation. It means that it is not enough that the members should work according to the will and order of the director. If they really agree to the will and order of the director, they should behave in a manner so as to show that they themselves want to do that work. If the members do not believe in particular rule or are not convinced about a certain order, they should discuss it with the director until and unless they are convinced. They should not give a wrong impression to their director. Additionally, if the members come across any rule or order which, though is not against truth and religion, but only look improper in the practical view, the members should follow it. But if it is against truth and religion, the members should be ready to leave the organization. Moreover, if a particular rule and order is not against truth and religion, but it is difficult to follow due to personal weakness, the members should leave for the progress of the institute. Henceforth, if there are mutual differences between the members, if there is doubt about the behavior of any member, if a particular member is the cause of dissatisfaction or distress or doubt, the matter should be discussed with the concerned person in every case in the first place. If the issue is not resolved, it should be brought to the notice of the immediate officer and the decision should be left to him or her. Next, the disputed matter should not be taken directly to the highest authority without having prior discussion with the concerned member or informing the immediate officer. However, if you have any doubt about another member, it should be immediately cleared. If you keep it in your heart and do not discuss, it would be the officer it will lead to the accumulation of vices in the institute. Last but not the least, the institution cannot function properly if the weakness and fault of the members are talked about in hushed tones but not disclosed to the officer, or the matter is not discussed openly with the concerned member about whom the discussions are taking place. If a situation persists, institute become lifeless because it would have become an abode of vice, conceit, untruth and vanity. Next is economic condition of the institution. No real work could be delayed due to paucity of funds. Additionally, it is not appropriate to put the funds in the bank and spend on the interest of the capital. The director of the institute should firmly believe that institute is for the welfare of the people and they would get money for its substance. The director would have to work very hard till the people are convinced of the usefulness of the institute, but the hard work would be considered as part of penance and service. After a period of time, so much money is accumulated, but this accumulated money could also make the institute lifeless. Therefore, an idle institution should not fall for the temptation of accumulating money. Moreover, it is generally seen that institutes which get public funds to work become careless in spending the money. This is one of the greatest problems for the organizations. The voluntary organizations of a poor country like India should spend sparingly. Furthermore, proper care should be taken to maintain account of the institute. Even a single rupee spent should be accounted for and should be regularly audited by the certified auditors. Now, we have to conclude this discussion. So, in conclusion, we can say that Gandhi called his 19-point constructive program a program for the construction of total or complete independence, Purn Swaraj, consisting of not only political but social and economic independence, as well as through truthful and non-violent means. Social scientists look at it as a program of social reconstruction, aiming at the eradication and mitigation of social problems like untouchability, alcoholism, unemployment, backwards of weaker section such as small farmers, labor, tribes, lepers, etc., through a specific program for them, and also aiming at bringing various sections of the society closer to one another through programs on communal unity, economic equality, national languages, etc. Gandhi also formulated a code of conduct for the agencies launched to execute these programs, which is relevant in the present day situation as well. So, this is for the day. Thank you so much.